I think would be good in landscapes. I brought it back from Hawaii. It might be available here, but I hadn't seen it before. But it's a wonderful little plant, you know, especially when it gets the right light. I just don't have much sun here at all.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
You might have started with some sun, but
oh yes.
now you have proper canopy here.
And we started with the riding lawnmower too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my name is Marie Nock. I was given my first bromeliad when I was 4 years old.
Four? That's pretty young.
And then I was dating Steve when we were in college, and we were doing plants together at that time. There used to be trash piles that were allowed in Miami, and we would go through the trash piles and find orchids and wonderful things. And then he got into all the native.
That's like dumpster diving for plants.
Yeah, it is. And it used to be allowed, and people would throw away amazing things. Then we got into native orchids and traveled the state, Keys all the way up to mid-Florida, and found orchids. And then we started trading those with people who grew other plants, and it grew and grew. And so it's always been a hobby. For our 10th wedding anniversary, Steve gave me a corporation, Regardens. He was a business major, and there are some tax advantages to having a business. And so now we've been in business 47 years.
Wow. I mean, and it's also very grown in here, and you could see that you've had plants for quite some time here.
Yeah. Steve had a contemporary design store, and he sold that in the early 90s and semi-retired. But he did the garden full time, and that's when he started hybridizing. John Banta was a good mentor, and John used to talk to Steve about macrolobium, Anthurium macrolobium, Scleronervum and Pedata radiatum. And so Steve started making macrolobiums, and one of the outcomes of that was a plant that we named Delta Force. It was a unique clone. Some people call it a unicorn. But the propagations of this are not from seed. You can see some seeds are developing.
Oh, yes.
And I had the first few seeds just a few years ago. And I donated one to the Aroids Society for the auction. Unfortunately, it sold for thousands of dollars. And I found out later that the seeds are not true to the parent plant.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. They make interesting plants, but it's the Scleronervum Pedata radiatum. So all of the true Delta Force have been vegetative propagations from the original plant.
How many propagations do you think you've made of the Delta Force?
Well, I've made some. Enid was early to get one, and then Chandra in Indonesia got one from us, and I think Enid sold one to somebody in Southeast Asia. I don't know if it was Thailand. So they've been around for a while, people propagating them. I sold my first one in 2021. I had always traded them. I'd used them as currency for plants that weren't available. You know, because sometimes there are things you can't buy, but people want to increase their collections too. So I would trade them. And it's, you know, some people think that any Scleronervum Pedata radiatum hybrid is a Delta Force. It's not, and I'll show you some different variations of it. They're all interesting, but they're not Delta Force.
Well, I would love to see. I mean, I feel like that's not unusual. Like if you cross two begonias, they have many different types of progeny that all are slightly different, you know? Well, I wonder who got that seed and what it grew into.
Yeah, I wasn't at the auction. Alex would know probably, but I felt so bad afterwards because, I didn't know because as seedlings they all look alike, and then as they grow up, then you see. Macrolobium is a result of that same cross.
Interesting. So different.
Yeah, and that's what Steve was aiming for.
Yeah.
And he used to label them. Some have 5 points, some have 7 points, some have 9 points, and some have 11 points in the leaves. Same cross. Clarinervum pedata radiatum. There's one of the plants I traded a Delta Force for. Is this
Wow.
variegated gloriosum.
Wow, that is a beautiful variegation.
And it had started to lose the variegation, and so I cut back in the rhizome, and all the different new growths now are variegated again. So, and I've heard that they do that. They go, we'll have a few green leaves and then go back to variegated.
And there's like yellows and creams and slate pinks.
Yeah, last year, during the cold season, I didn't have it in, and I had a half moon. So this is the result of last year's leaf. This year, when we had our cold snap, I protected this one.
Yeah, and that is to be said here that Florida recently did have a pretty bad cold snap. And
three days of down in the low 40s.
Yeah, which these tropical plants usually can't handle. So there will be some leaf drop, but we'll highlight some of the ones that had pushed through.
This is another Clarinervum pedata radiatum. That's not a very good leaf. It's damaged, but they're all different. And the ones that I think are more interesting, I label with clone numbers. I haven't named any of them.
Okay.
Oh, there are more Delta Force.
Oh, here we go. Right up here. So you should really be skeptical of somebody selling a Delta Force, is what you're saying.
I see them online all the time, and sometimes, one person who I know, I emailed her. She's in Texas, because she had posted that she got a Delta Force, and it wasn't a Delta Force at all. And I explained to her, if it has the lobes, it's not Delta Force. But
whether they choose to listen, you don't know.
You can't protest
Yeah.
too much. In this aisle, in the aisle over there are my variegated Beletiae, and last year in the cold snap, they blasted their heads, and a lot of them went green. And then this cold snap now, I'm sure, is going to devastate them again.
I still see some variegation. I mean, it is an older leaf, but I do still see some variegation on there. And it looks like it's relatively untouched.
There are some. Oh, and this is an interesting plant down here too. This is one from Haiti. Clavigia domingensis. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
It's a small tree. It throws sprays of flowers that look like orange cymbidiums.
But obviously not an orchid.
No. I have another variety. I like big leaves, and so when I was able to get another Clavigia, that was the first one I got, it has baby flowers, that are hardly worth seeing, but this one has flowers that are about two inches across.
And you say it's a tree. Is it like an understory, or does it get really big?
No, it's an understory.
Okay.
Fairchild has them planted under an oak right across from the conservatory.
Got it.
And then I can show you my Spiritusante. It did well in the cold.
I would love to see it. That's surprising, and that is a Hail Mary there, huh?
Yeah. This is actually our third one. All the lessons here come hard. And if you bend a root, the root dies.
Is that so?
So you have to weave the roots into the pot very carefully as they're growing. Bruce Greer, who's the president of the board of Fairchild, had a big one that he went to move up into a bigger pot. Didn't know that. Bent the roots, and his huge plant died.
Oh no! Is that the one that he got at auction?
Probably.
I think they got it at the. I think he paid for it at auction at the Aroids show.
Yeah.
Oh no!
That's a Circus Peanuts in the background. This one over here.
This one right here?
Yes. That's one of my seed parents. I have seedlings coming of Circus Peanuts.
I love the name. Does it smell like circus peanuts?
To me, I don't notice the smell at all.
Okay. I think I might have seen a circus peanuts at
Bill?
Bill.
Oh, Bill.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he has it.
Okay.
And, you know, it was rumored for years that they would not set seed. They do, because years ago I had set seed and I had one plant grow and it looked exactly like circus peanuts.
Okay. Well, it
This
looks
is
like it has a little flower coming up on there in the back.
Yeah, well, they're good parents.
Yeah.
This is a native to Jamaica, this row over here.
Okay.
I have some prettier ones that are in more light, Mancuniense. And just as an aside, my Spiritu Santi I got from Troy, Shiganaga in Hilo. Mm-hmm. And when I was there last year, he gave me some seedlings. He's the third person in the United States to set seed on Spiritu Santi.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was pleased, but you know, was wondering why he was third and not the first. And over here is an interesting Philodendron Winlandii. Some people have not seen it. Oh, that's a big stenolobum going up the
Oh my
the
goodness.
Hong Kong orchid.
Is this another stenolobum right
It
here?
was the same plant, and then it broke apart, probably in one of the storms.
I see. So
it's gone on and on and on.
Yeah.
This Fantastic Gardens was a nursery in this area. Back in the 60s and 70s, we used to go every weekend and try to talk them out of one plant that wasn't for sale. And then when they realized their property was too valuable for a nursery, they decided to close out, and so they had an auction. And my husband and Bruce Greer were bidding against this, bidding, you know how auctions go. And finally Steve said to Bruce, if you'll give me that little piece on the side, I'll stop bidding. So we found a piece that was small over our gate, but it's grown. You know, we've been here so many years.
yeah.
But it's not the narrow form. The narrow form is the more desirable.
Oh, can you feature this? I love this plant.
Oh, let's go to one that's in bloom. So
Sure,
that we
let's
can,
do that.
See the flower, because it's Osmoxylon lineare variation miagos, but to see the bloom really makes it really spectacular. This is Philodendron Winlandii species. That's the basis of many of the rosette philodendrons. You don't see them around that much anymore. Sometimes I know Troy from Novelty Greens puts them on eBay, but to me it's a desirable plant because of its history.
Why do you think they're not on very much any longer? People want the climbing ones, or what do you think?
I don't know. Availability is probably one thing.
Yeah.
And they do take up a lot of space if
Yeah,
we
well, like
measure this.
I guess like even anthurium, like bird nest anthuriums, you could find on the market though.
Yeah,
Like why not a philodendron? Yeah.
Yeah. It has a very interesting inflorescence. I don't know if that sun is going to.
No, it looks excellent.
Yeah.
Look at that. It looks like cloves down here. You know what I mean? Like some kind of spice, and then the flowers of a kind
You
of
can
like.
see how they're pollinated. These are seeds coming on this one
Oh,
up
yeah.
here, but they're much faster to grow from cuttings than from seed. And I've heard that pigeons pollinate them. I don't know, maybe they're attracted to the black false seeds.
Perhaps, yeah.
And then the variation miagos is variegated, so in the summertime when the sun is hot, this is more green and chartreuse, but in the shade, it'll be plain green. And they adapt to both conditions, they just don't like extreme cold.
Yeah, it seems like the new growth is like really that chartreusey color.
Yeah. And in the summer, then it would all be variegated. Yeah, this is Zambia antillarum with a magnificent webbing. I keep saving those webs when they fall off the tree. I don't know what to do with them, but to me, nature is just so beautiful. And they're native to Haiti, and the needles on these are used to poke the voodoo dolls. So that's the original way, but I don't think there are many left in Haiti, from what I've heard.
Just to point out this flower again here. It's more in the shade, but
Oh, and there's a little Kula gardenia poking. It's those. I love plants that are fragrant during the day. This really would like to be in full sun, and it was.
Oh, the yellow
planted
one
there.
right here.
Yes, that's the one that when it comes out the first day it's white, The second day is yellow, and the third day is golden.
Oh, it's almost like the Brunsfeldia style
yes,
colors, yeah, except yellow.
This is a Myrta valance. This is a male. It has leaves like a Ficus pseudopalma. To me, it's a beautiful tree. To set seed, though, you need both male and female. It's dioecious. Yeah, this is a big Angiopteris angustifolia.
Looks like you have it propped up a little bit.
Yeah. It was supposed to go to the botanical garden in Pittsburgh, and then the horticulturalist moved, and the new horticulturalist didn't need it. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but it's our biggest one. I have a few different Angiopteris, and Evecta I bring back every year from Hawaii.
Looks quite happy here.
Yeah, it is. They say not to put them in the ground, and even people that put them in the ground, it looks like they're in the ground, bury a pot and then put the pot inside the pot.
And why can't you put it in the ground? Does it just spread too much, or?
I don't know if there are nematodes. I don't know if it's the alkaline soil that gets to the roots. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because it's in a peat-based medium.
And so it doesn't mind being a little pot bound then?
Doesn't seem to.
Yeah.
They really like water.
All the roots.
Yeah.
Gotta watch where you walk.
You do. This is another clone.
Oh wow, so this one, is like a little bit wider. It doesn't have as pronounced of a drip tip. It seems to be a slightly different color.
Here's another clone. A little bit longer.
Interesting.
This is Philodendron tenue. Oh, and here's another Necrolobium. Again, the same cross as the Clarinum pedata radiatum. The benches all used to look like this. So the first year of the pandemic, I cleaned them up, and one bench was all orange marmalade. This is the Jose Bono. And when I tried to contain the orange marmalade, they didn't like it at all. So I just let the Jose Bono stay like it is, because I get plenty of tip cuttings off this. It just doesn't look very nice.
Some would disagree. Some would love all that tangle of green, Marie.
Medinillas. I didn't show you the big ones. This is Miniata. This is the red one, a red pendant flower. And I propagate them under mist. Oh, you can see a bud coming on this one. They propagate, well, Miniata propagates quite well. Then there are other ones that when I try to propagate, I'll get 3 out of 10. I don't know why some are fussier than others.
What was it about Medinillas? Because it's something that you really enjoy.
Well, I love the flowers. To me, they're so beautiful. And then they've been making, Kornbach in the Netherlands has been making wonderful hybrids with Medinillas. And so Peter comes over every year for TPIE and the World Vermilion Conference. So I get to see him, and he always brings new things, and he brings species as well. So we trade back and forth, because if ever I find a new Medinilla, I propagate one for him.
Yeah. They look like hanging grapes to me, like hanging floral grapes.
Yeah, well, the ones that form seeds too.
Yeah.
Anthurium papillanimum, I do keep propagating them, and I have a lot of seedlings coming of this. Here's another Clarinervum pedata radiatum hybrid.
And these just don't have names.
No. The better ones, I put clone numbers. Here's one that looks just about like a Delta Force, but isn't.
And so what would be different about this one that just doesn't make it quite a Delta Force, for example?
It has the lobes on the top of the leaves. The Delta
see.
Force is pretty much triangular.
Okay.
But other than that, the patterning is the same, and it has a nice long
drip tip, yeah.
This is an interesting philodendron. This is Philodendron applanatum, and it has a very flat petiole. These you don't see around that much. Oh, and one that I brought back from Hawaii last year. It's around, but I just had never seen such a big one. Everything grows well in Hawaii. This is the quercifolium.
Ooh, that's interesting. And that, I would say, is a really mature leaf.
Yes, I have friends that will sell me plants off their trees. So, and then this is alternans. very often when you see alternans, you see it in a pot, but it's really a climber, so it does a lot better if it's put on a totem. And this is elegans. I was never able to grow elegans until this piece that came back last year. And
Is it because it was slightly mature, or like?
I think being mature helped it, because I was always starting with bare root plants that had been imported, and this was as soon as I got it back here, I potted it.
What a specimen here, huh?
Yes.
Can't even fit that in the frame.
I'm trying to think of the name.
Colonicum?
Colonicum, Anthurium colonicum. Here's a purple cochleostema. The green ones got zapped by the cold. This one got zapped a little bit, but you can still see the good color on it.
Yeah, well, sometimes when it has cold damage, it turns a little red, but this one is just naturally red.
This one is naturally red. And the red ones are never as hardy as the green ones.
Well, that's interesting that the green ones got zapped, but you probably have so many different microclimates here, and you have plants on top of plants, so.
Yeah, and going, well, you can see these aren't as badly damaged as the one that was up in the front.
Right.
The plants I always protect are the, there's only one that looks good in here, the Pentagonia winlandii.
Ooh, yeah.
When it gets below 55 degrees, the leaves get damaged in these, so they go in under protection many times during the year. This is a mist area that's all overgrown, not a good time of year to propagate.
Yeah.
But I let the Philodendron verrucosum go in here because they love to have that moisture.
And they also love to scramble everywhere.
They do.
Yeah.
And so come spring, then I'll be able to cut them up and propagate.
Nice.
Oh, and these, I like Hoffmannii.
So do I. Impossible to grow indoors, but I like that they could grow as bedding plants everywhere here in Florida.
This is Roselii. This is really like a ground cover. And this Roselii I've had for years, and it propagates well. And then I got this one from Chad, and it's also called Roselii. So who knows what the true Roselii is?
Yeah.
Because it's a new one.
And these look good too that you protected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not all of them. They
Yeah. Whoa, look at it.
It grows from cuttings.
Wow.
And it grows so well, and I see it sometimes online for sale.
Yeah.
Rare ficus. This is, again, a tenue, Philodendron tenue. Here's a variegated Hoffmannii. This is Gisbredii variegata.
Used to have one of those indoors, could not keep it indoors. It's too hard.
Well, they're not that easy. This one isn't that easy to keep outdoors either.
Well, this is a big Medinilla here, right?
Yes, that's another miniata.
Okay.
The miniatas aren't around, and so they sell well for me because I'm, I guess, one of the few people that propagates. Oh, this is interesting. This is a Heliconia zebrina, not a Calathea zebrina, but Heliconia zebrina.
Oh, you could have fooled me.
And this is a cultivar Ploumannii. It has the red back because the typical Heliconia zebrina has a green back.
Wow, this looks just like, I guess they're considered Gopertias now, but.
This is Philodendron martianum, one of the cold hardiest of all the philodendrons.
That's interesting to know. I see a cultivar called Fat Boy on the market.
That would be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been called Gordo Fat Boy. And years ago it was called an Air canifolium, but it is martianum. And some of my customers in Central Florida wanted to landscape with philodendron, so they did 45 of these, because they would take the winters up there.
It's good to know that these are slightly cold hardy. Seem to be fine in your 45-degree temperature for 3 days.
These are seedlings of an osmoxylon tree that, like the osmoxylon lineare you showed, instead of a black and white flower, this has an orange and black flower. But the trees can get up to 20, 25 feet tall.
It's amazing because they look like those little like Anthurium polysticum leaves or radiatums or something like that.
Or they think I'm growing pot.
Yeah, yeah. Has that look. I've seen, these are Sanchezias, right? Or Sanchezias?
Yes.
I mean, I've seen those more on the market, like in the past, but I don't really see them now very much.
Well, this one, in the summer, it's brilliant yellow, and it's not an aggressive grower. I mean, it grows well, but it's one that I think would be good in landscapes. I brought it back from Hawaii. It might be available here, but I hadn't seen it before. But it's a wonderful little plant, you know, especially when it gets the right light. I just don't have much sun here at all.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
You might have started with some sun. But
oh yes.
Now you have proper canopy here.
And we started with the riding lawnmower too.
Oh my goodness! No more lawn here.
This is Medinilla seedlings. It's also called Tasmanii. It's one of the more difficult ones to propagate, but it has a beautiful bloom, and my plant is large enough that it blooms throughout the year.
I mean, it looks like one of the, like the texture of a clusia flower, like it's that porcelain flower, and it has these like pink eyelashes or like pink cat claws. And look at how glassy that is.
And they close at
waxy.
night. They close and then open in the morning. Oh, it's a shame this doesn't have a good flower. This is Anthurium shibori. Shibori means tie-dye in Japanese, so it's the one that's kind of cream color with pink and hot pink blotches on it.
This Dischidia platyphila looks cool too. Yeah.
I used to have the Hoya that was the shingler too, but I lost that.
I can imagine if you had too many Hoyas here, they'd be tangling up on everything. You wouldn't be able to get anything out.
They do. This is Philodendron pulchrum from Brazil. Anthurium lucens. Anthurium schottianum, a little zapped, but not too terribly. And those are some of the Angioptera sevecta that I brought back from Hawaii last year.
Oh, okay.
I have one little corner of sun where I have a few Crotons. I don't know if you want to see.
Sure. Because that's what you said you had mentioned at one point that you really started with it.
Well, when Crotons were hot, I got into them after looking past them for most of my life. And I had quite a few, but now I don't have the light to grow them well.
So you don't think they're still popular in the landscape?
Oh, they are, but not like they were. I mean, there were Croton societies. We would have meetings 2 or 3 times a year where people would drive in from all over the state. It was really fun.
Wow.
You know, there was a Croton website, a Croton wiki. People were making new hybrids. It was a wonderful time. You know how, like Aroids are now.
Yeah.
Except it was mostly people from Florida and then people from Thailand or Asia. You know,
people who could grow them in the landscape.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except there was one fellow from Russia who grew under lights, and he had an incredible collection. He would go to Thailand every year and
go figure. See, collection. You know, if you have the will, then there's a way.
Wonder Boy. Oh, here's that Sanchezia from Brazil I was telling you about, one that didn't get zapped. It's Sanchezia munita.
The one with the red flowers back there?
Right. It's a great landscape plant, and I've tried to introduce it I gave some to Fairchild. I know that Chad is propagating some, but it will grow and bloom in sun or shade, and it's not around. But then from the 44-degree weather, we found out it's not very cold hardy either.
Right. I like the stems. They're like these kind of segmented, swollen, almost zigzaggy stems.
And the bloom is wonderful. It goes on, it'll get more colorful and then have flowers that come out of the bracts. This is another osmoxylon. Maybe when you've done Fairchild, you filmed this. It's in the conservatory. It's
we didn't really highlight this one, no.
It's novaganensis. It has a very interesting configuration.
Oh yeah, look at that. Well, your ficus right here is looking pretty good. What is this, a triangularis or?
Yeah, triangularis.
Yeah.
I have a huge tree, not variegated, but a triangularis tree in the front. And this is my little patch of sun that gives the Croton some color. This is Exotica, one of my favorite Crotons.
Now, are they all of the species variegatum?
Codium variegatum. It's like dogs. Dogs are one, but they're just variations.
Yeah.
So, and they're not true to seed. You can self-plant, and you won't get the same configuration. So, I have named 5 Crotons. You only name the ones that are worth keeping, but some of them are wonderful. This, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Fantasy Fest celebration in Key West. This is a George Zamas hybrid named Fantasy Fest, and if it had more sun, it would be even more colorful, but it's quite a nice one. And then the kind of bland Crotons that we passed over there that didn't have good light grow into this. This is Sybil Griffin, one of my favorites.
Wow.
But light makes all the difference when it comes to Crotons. This is John Burnett, or stained glass. John Burnett is the grandfather of a good friend of mine who's now 85. So imagine how many years ago this was made. But
crazy.
And when I went over to Fort Myers to get this one identified, they gave me, I asked about John Burnett, and they gave me a piece of this one too. So, these are the Mancunienses that have the better light. You saw those. This is the Jamaican native. This is a Rhodelia. Rhodelias are gingers. They're not very well known. This one is from Papua New Guinea. It's never bloomed for me. I don't know what the bloom would be like. I had Corallina before, which was a terminal bloomer, and I could even set seed on it and grow it from seed.
Is this the same one? This one has like a red petiole. This one's more like
it's the same.
orange.
This is just a younger growth. But they're pretty because of the variegation.
Yeah. Here. So they never flowered for you?
No, and I've had them for years. Probably 20 years.
Yeah. I would imagine, though, Marie, that something could potentially flower in here and unbeknownst to you, and you just wouldn't know.
Possible, but I'm out here a lot.
Okay, okay.
This a friend calls paper plate Aurelia. It gets huge leaves. We got this from Leland Miano. I'm not sure where it came from originally, but there's the dinner plate Aurelia that has leaves about 8 inches across. This gets really big.
This one looks a bit more like puckered too. I don't know if that, like a rippled. I don't know if that's just the growth form or cupped, I guess.
And then this Osmoxylon got zapped. This is the other one with the orange and black flower, but it has really interesting leaves when they're not brown. Should we go see those the metaphyllums in front?
Yeah, let's do it. It's like a maze over here. I would totally get lost. It's like going through the cornfields.
He used to have a megaphone that he would use to call me in.
I mean, I could see that. How many acres is this?
It's just one.
It's just crazy how convoluted and maze-like
and
it
this
is.
was all, when we bought the place, the mango and avocado trees were here, but grass and a riding lawnmower came with it. So,
Unbelievable.
yeah, we paced out a tennis court. Thank goodness we didn't put one in.
Yeah, I think
That was
tennis court would have eventually become like your seeding greenhouse or something.
yeah, 52 years ago.
Wow.
That one is subincizum. That was called an wilsonii. This is the Gregory Hambali hybrid, which is sprucei or goldii with the narrow stem lobum.
It's a very attractive leaf.
Yeah, it's. And then this is watermelons, Anthurium watermelons. These make good interior plants. They take space, but they're good inside. I don't know if you can get that.
I can, yeah.
That's a big schottianum hybrid. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then this is a hybrid that Leland Miano brought back from Burley Marx's place. It's melanonii with pinatophytum. It has the pinatophytum marks on the petiole, the purple. But it makes a beautiful specimen and withstood the cold, so that was good. Yeah, here's a pinatophytum right here. You can see the marks. And then this is one that Betsy Furstein collected in Ecuador. It's never been described because she didn't have the GPS coordinates. I don't think GPS were even around at that time. So it's called sometimes Betzianum, sometimes Fursteinianum. But it makes a wonderful specimen. It looks something like a maximum, but it's a climber. And it's not the, there is a maximum climber, but they are different.
Yeah, very beefy, and it has a new leaf coming right up out of there, and it looks like it is undeterred by the cold.
Just different bird's nest anthuriums. My husband's first well-known cross was Anthurium Marie. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It was the first purple bird's nest anthurium, other than, Superbum was little, but it was a big one like this. And it was put in tissue culture and then sold around the world. And when our customers from Thailand came, they came one year in January, and they bought all the small plants we had. And then they came back in September for the Aroid show and got probably 15 plants that were this size. And Steve was ready to chop off the leaves and the roots, and no. they wanted the plants just the way they were. Someone in Thailand had won the lotto with a purple bird's nest anthurium in their garden, and so that was a lucky plant. And you know how lucky plants are in Thailand. So,
yeah.
So they paid more in freight than they paid for the plants.
Wow.
A monstera that's unknown to me. We probably got it from Leland, but
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. This is Stromatophyllum paludicola. They identify stromatophyllums from the intravaginal squamules that are on the trunk, and paludicola is smooth. This is one of Bill Rodolante's hybrids.
Yes, okay.
Billfolius rex.
Yeah.
It looks like it could have lived with the dinosaurs.
He has a good sense of humor.
This is Stromatophyllum lundii. It's my understanding that this is used a lot in California in landscape and not in Florida. I don't know why.
Huh.
It's a beautiful plant. Here we use the bipinatophytum.
Well, I don't see this one. Do you see this one on the market very much?
No, not here, not in Florida. Nor the Tweedianum. These I grew from seed. Michael Ferraro went to Brazil, to Harry Lorenzi's place, and was able to bring some seed back, and they grew readily. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. This was like how many years ago? 20, 25 years ago. And they did well. This is Anthurium faustomerendi. Trying to get a leaf for you that doesn't have our water stains on it, the calcium carbonate, but the leaves actually can be twice that size. And this is one that can be put in the ground in Florida.
It's crazy. I must stand back to film whole plant.
When we were young, we used to go to people's gardens and they would have these wonderful Aroids growing up in the trees, and we always wanted that. And now we have it.
Yes, you do. And now you can't grow Crotons because of it.
Watch your step. The roots here are terrible. This is the big Ficus triangularis tree.
Oh, wow. That's a Ficus triangularis?
Yeah.
No way.
Be nice if it were variegated.
Wow.
This is Anthurium hookeri. A lot of people think that, or a lot of people call any bird's nest Anthurium hookeri, but this is the true one, and the seeds are white. However, I grew this from seed that I brought back from Hawaii, but it's been very difficult for me to grow seeds from this. I get maybe hundreds of seeds every year, but 3 plants a year from those seeds.
So it just doesn't have a good propagation rate.
Right.
Yeah.
And this, to me, is the most elegant bird's nest Anthurium. This is Salvinii. And those blades can get up to 12 feet long. And then the one that looks like a chefflera in the middle is Clavigerum.
Mm-hmm. That's probably one of the bigger Clavigerum leaves that I've seen.
This is another Bamatophyllum. This is Melloborossianum, and it has, touch the squamules, they'll scratch you.
Oh yeah, look,
Leland
they
used to
have
call
like
these
little
the dragons
daggers.
in his garden.
Let me just close up on that. Yeah. Highly serrated leaf right over here. And then you have your little metallicum right here.
And this Dracaena has an interesting history. It's Dracaena umbriculifera, and for years it was said to be extinct, only in botanical gardens or in private collections. And then with the DNA work they've been doing on plants in 2018, Mobot found that it was more closely related to the Dracaenas in Madagascar and not to the ones in Mauritius. So they sent a team there and they found 2 colonies of it. So now it's no longer extinct, it's critically endangered, but it makes a beautiful tree.
Gosh, it almost looks like an overgrown yucca in a way. Yeah.
This is a pile of leaves from the Coca lobo pubescens. In a rainy year, the leaves can be about 2 feet wide, and it's hard to rake them. You have to pick them up. But the cold zapped this, so it's dropping leaves.
Really sizable specimen up there, though.
And more subincitum in the trees. Up here we have a Jose Bono in the tree, and so it helps people realize that yes, this must be the place. And you know, the funny thing about Jose Bono, we met him in Puerto Rico, 50 some odd years ago. And so we've traded plants ever since then. But he says Jose Bono is not his plant. He didn't do that. So it was just somehow it got named after him, which is fine.
Well, that happens, I feel like, a lot, you know. Some other person will name it after somebody who they admire or who they knew or
who they got it from.
Who they got it from.
We put Leland Miano on some Anthuriums that we got that didn't have names, and now they're called, I see online, Leland Miano. There's the Jose Bono in the tree.
There it is. Let me just get over there.
And let me show you my seedlings. That's what's
I
been
will.
keeping me busy these days.
That sounds great.
I need to point out the Syngonium chiapense.
Let's try to get it without the light flare up here. There it is. Biggest one that I've seen to date.
And the philodendron on the right of the mango tree is one I used to, I worked for the Miami-Dade College, and when I'd be up in Orlando for meetings, I'd always go to Macaulay's bamboo nurseries and get the philodendrons that he was using for breeding stock. Not that he named or not that he put in tissue culture, but there were always some interesting ones, and that's where I got my first Medinilla magnifica. Just wanted you to see the size of the leaves that are falling. This used to be called the lowland Ficus damaropsis, and Chad Husby gave me the new name for it, Brucei or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but aren't the leaves amazing?
So cool. I mean, that's the size, that's bigger than your torso.
And this Melanonii didn't get zapped, which is amazing because they are very, very cold tender. But I guess it was close enough to the house that got a little bit of warmth.
Yeah, and maybe, well, you didn't have sun for 3 days either, did you?
No.
Yeah, so it could have
And
been
then
the sun.
this is supposedly a variegated Melanonii, but Ron Week says it's got to be a hybrid because of the leaf shape,
I see.
but it's still nice.
And it also seemed pretty hardy.
Yeah. Because my smaller Melanonii are protected, worrying about the sun. These are Amherstia nobilis trees. Are you familiar with Amherstia? It's supposed to be the most beautiful flower in the world.
No.
It looks like an upside down pink flamingo. And in Hawaii, they're all over the place. They grow and bloom.
Where are they originally from, though?
Sri Lanka,
Okay.
yeah. But I bring them back each year.
And what's the genus?
Amherstia.
Amherstia, like
Right.
Amherst, like in Massachusetts?
Right. Myconia calvescens.
Which you have to be careful of, right? 'Cause
Well, not in Florida.
Not in Florida, but in Hawaii.
In Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah.
And when we take them to the Department of Ag, they say, "Where did you get these?" Because they're invasive over there with their volcanic soil, but
Yeah.
here they're rare plants. There's even one in the conservatory at Fairchild.
Yeah.
This is a Dracaena that Chip Jones brought back from Cambodia. It might be Cambodiense. Still a young plant. And these are my seedlings. 2 years ago, big Anthurium species were hot. Last year, Anthurium seedlings were hot. So mostly I've been selfing because so many people are making hybrids and you don't know what the hybrids are going to look like. But I do F2s of, if I have a particularly good one, I'll set seed on that. But again, I had one that was Orchid papilliaminum, and the seedlings came out so differently. Some were broad like the paps, some were narrow like the Warocyanums. So I think this is one of the, oh no, this is a Portuloi. Oh, this is one of the ones that's narrow. So I'm hoping for something interesting with that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting when people come to select seedlings, they're looking for the differences. Some of the delta forces that will not be true. they look promising at this stage, but no, heartbreakers.
Interesting. So they all kind of like have that triangular shape, and then as they mature,
Then
they
they
get the
disappoint.
lobes.
Yeah. Some of the baby Spiritusantes.
Ah. And what kind of medium do you primarily grow in for your
We mix
seedlings?
our own. We use a third peat moss, a third perlite, and a third soil conditioner. It's a lot simpler than what a lot of people use, but it serves us well.
Great.
And
yeah, I mean, it looks like you have a nice success rate here.
Dressleri papilliaminum. I put papilliaminum pollen on the Dressleri because I didn't have any Dressleri pollen one time, and then I put Dressleri pollen ever after. But I think they're all the hybrids. I think it must have been just so virile.
Yeah, looks like it. You need a bigger bench.
Oh, I do. Then I've been doing a lot of papilamaminum seedlings. I had a good take on 2 plants, and a few, I planted the variegated ones because a lot of the seedlings come up variegated. The ones that are pure white don't make it. The ones that have a little bit of green, I planted in with another plant in case they don't make it, but some of them may. And then the F2s on the Clarinervum pedata radiatum, and they're all different. Some you see have the long tail, some are fat and squat. These sell pretty well because I sell mostly to people who resell my plants. I don't ship. I do this because it's fun, and shipping to me would not be fun. So, and then I have babies coming. My little circus peanuts.
Oh yeah, look at
are
that.
coming along. I have Berriosa blends there. Some of the ones we got from Leland that I call Leland Miano, and people have put that, I just put it as a holder, but it's developed that name.
So even despite all the humidity in Florida, you still keep a little plastic bag over them for...
When they're germinating, and I
Yep.
keep them in the wintertime on a heating pad. It makes it 15 degrees above the ambient temperature. And they're handy here to the water, so I can sprinkle a few times a day. This is one that came out variegated. Sometimes it's not a great variegation, but it's variegated.
Yeah.
I think this is a Portaloy. Yeah, these sold well, but I kept 2. This is the true Bessier. They're difficult to find, and there's one clone that doesn't clump up. This is the clone that clumps up. So I don't know if you can see in there. I'll divide it in the spring. It's not the right time to
Oh,
divide.
wait, hold on a second. Let me see. Look at that. Yeah. How would you divide it? You just make an incision right in the middle, like
Right,
down the center,
right.
basically?
Well, I try to separate each growing head.
Yeah, okay.
And then whenever I make a cut on an aroid, I make a paste out of diethane M45 and water, and I paint the cuts. Not everybody does that, but I just think that it prevents problems later on. So,
Like any type of fungal or bacterial rot or anything like that?
Right.
Okay.
This is a Dracontium.
Oh.
Dracontium amazonica. And in the sun, this will get red with the silver. And they can be quite large. I mean, we've had some with the diameter about 4 inches. But it grows like an Amorphophallus. It'll go dormant and then come back up.
And what's this one in here?
That's a Bessier that's been separated.
Oh, that's the separated
yeah,
version.
And so
Okay.
I'm trying to set seed on it. They're hard. And then my latest thing is planting seeds of the Zamia pseudoparasitica.
So a cycad?
Yes, it's the only epiphytic cycad, and I just put the seeds down less than a week ago, and they're already starting to throw roots up. I mean, to me, it's just amazing because I don't know what I'm doing. I have a couple people that coach me on this.
So you basically found out that you had a male and female.
Yes, they're dioecious, so you need to have a male and female, and you need to, well, I don't know if you need to hand pollinate, but we did hand pollinate it, and then it took about a year for the seed pod to get ripe.
Gosh, what a wait.
And then they're in a gelatinous substance, the coating, and they have to be planted immediately. You can't wait days.
So you
to
clear
plant
the
them.
pectinous gelatin off of it.
Right, you wash it off,
Yeah.
and then, but some of these were put down 2 days ago. These were put down yesterday.
Look at, they're
so-
already kind of emerging.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Cool. And that's all in perlite.
No, Chip Jones told me potting soil with about ½ inch of perlite on top.
Fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, he said it keeps down bacteria.
Got it.
Yeah, I have good coaches.
You need them for the diversity of plants that you have here, Marie. Like, you know, it's hard to be an expert on all of it all at once, you know. But man, you have done an excellent job, and you know, to see what a jungle could look like in almost 50 years,
Well,
right?
You need to come back though in the spring and summer. Actually,
And not after a cold snap.
right.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the tour. Really
my
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
My pleasure.
Don't miss a beat on this channel because we have more great tours and houseplant tips in store. Subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you know when the next episode arrives. And if you'd like to support in other ways, consider tipping or becoming one of our illustrious sustaining members. You can find out more on our website at homesteadbrooklyn.com, including the range of online courses we have, from the 125 houseplant care spreadsheet to houseplant basics and the Houseplant Masterclass. And don't forget that we have a new channel covering outdoor gardening, herbs, permaculture, agroforestry, and homesteading over at Flock Finger Lakes. We'll see you in the next episode.